What's up YouTube, Capital G here, checking out the brand new Fang Brigade Pirate Archetype coming out in the booster set Darksabers. This is like finally, we are getting an official Pirate Archetype. I don't know how long I have waited for this. The game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going on 20 years, man, and this is our first official Pirate Archetype. How does that even happen? It doesn't even make any sense, especially when you consider that, you know, like the anime One Piece, my favorite anime of all time, is so ridiculously popular in Japan, and One Piece is a shonen anime, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a shonen anime, so I thought maybe Konami would try and cash in on that. And it looks like this set Darksabers is going to be, it's going to be like one of those smaller sets like Fusion Enforcers or Spirit Warriors, where we get 3 different archetypes and everything else in the set is just going to be kind of, you know, support for those archetypes. So I wouldn't expect many staples in here, just kind of like good cards to support these archetypes. I've looked over this new pirate archetype, the Fang Brigade. They seem like they are definitely swarm focused and they're going to be a lot of fun. So Recon Sky Scout of the Fang Brigade and Donpa, Marksman of the Fang Brigade. I believe it's the same monster, just in 2 different artworks, and he looks like he's doing different things, or I don't know, I guess it could be a girl, but it looks like, you know, he or she is just doing kind of different things on the card, but it's the same exact monster, and both of them are Wind and Beast effect, level 2, 1000 attack, 500 defense on the Recon, and then it's just reversed on the Donpa, which is the Marksman. Let me see, all of the effects are hard once per turns, and the first effect is on both monsters. During the main phase, you can special summon 1 Fang Brigade monster from your hand, except another copy of itself. There again, it's built into both of them. And then the second effect is almost the same, but it's a little bit different. On Scout, it is if another Fang Brigade monster is special summoned to your field while this card is already face up, you can target 1 set card on the field and destroy it, so you can pop one of your opponent's set spell or traps. And then on Marksman, if another Fang Brigade monster is special summoned to your field while this card is already face up, you can target 1 face up card on the field and destroy it. I think that Marksman is probably the better effect. Being able to pop face ups is just usually better in Yu-Gi-Oh! But I think the reason why it has that is because its stats are lower. So these are really good cards. We have the Blavo, fighter of the Fang Brigade. He's a fire reptile, level 4, 1900 attack, 200 defense. Shout outs to Rekindling. Anyways, all his effects are hard once per turns. During the main phase, you can special summon 1 Fang Brigade monster from your hand, except Blavo, so except another copy of himself. That's built into all the like level 4 or lower monsters. If another Fang monster is special summoned while this card is already face up, you can activate this effect. All Fang Brigade monsters on the field gain 500 attack and defense to the end of the turn. He seems okay. Just basically, he becomes a 2400 beater at that point. Next up, we have Beat. This is the Swordman of the Fang Brigade, Earth Warrior level 3. Shoutouts to Rhoda. 1200 attack, 500 defense. Both effects are hard once per turn. During your main phase, you can special summon 1 Fang Brigade monster from your hand, except another copy of Beat. If another Fang monster is special summoned to your field while this card is already face up, you can add 1 Fang Brigade monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of Beat. So this is actually the best Fang monster in a vacuum, and the reason I say that is because it's the only Fang monster that allows you to kind of instantly put 3 monsters on board. Basically, if you have this and then you have another little guy, what you can do is you can summon Beat, you can activate his effect, you can special summon the little guy, then you can activate Beat's effect again. Beat will actually get you a nice little search. So let's say you search the boss monster, then you can have your little guy special summon, and your little guy will put the boss monster on board, and then the little guy might actually pop a card on your opponent's side of the field, or it might give you a nice stat increase, and then the boss monster will activate. The boss monster will excavate 2 cards, you'll add 1 to your hand, nice +1 there, and then you can basically go in for damage, and that's a pretty legitimate play. So this seems like the card you're probably always going to want in your hand, like turn 1, and you're probably going to run that copy of Rhoda to be able to search this guy, because he seems kind of the most important card to getting your plays going. Let's go ahead and look at the boss monster, and when you look at the boss monster and you look at the little guy guys, the boss monster seems really strong. So the boss monster is Lafaro, hero of the Sky Fang Brigade. He's a light dragon, level 8, 2800 attack, 2200 defense. All of his effects are hard once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you can activate this effect. Excavate cards from the top of your deck equal to the number of Sky Fang Brigade monsters you control with different names, except himself. You get to add one of those excavated cards to your hand, and then you shuffle the rest back into the deck. So your opponent will know what card that you added, but if you get something like a Regeki or something that is very powerful, I don't really think it's actually going to matter. And honestly, the fact that you can just special summon him off the little guys makes him a lot better, and you'll already be guaranteed to go +1 even if your opponent does get that information. His second effect makes him really feel like a very strong boss monster. It says when an opponent's monster effect is activated, quick effect, you can discard one Sky Fang Brigade card, negate that activation. So he's a walking Divine Wrath. I'll take that. Any boss monster that is going to be a +1 on summon usually, and then on top of that he's like a walking Divine Wrath, that seems pretty damn good. And then we have the two high level monsters. I don't really like these all that much. I don't think that they're necessary. I mean, I know that they can be special summoned out of the hand relatively easily with all the lower level monsters, but their stats kind of suck, and they're all high level monsters. They don't really seem as worth it to me. We have Wiz, Sage of the Sky Fang Brigade. This is a level 7 water spellcaster, 1600 attack, 2800 defense. If this card is special summoned, you can gain 500 life points for each Sky Fang Brigade monster with a different name you control, except this card. When an opponent's spell or trap card is activated, quick effect, you can discard one Sky Fang Brigade card, negate that activation. So this guy is at least, it's kind of like a walking, what is that magical musketeer card? I'm not sure. I want to call it a dart bribe, but obviously your opponent doesn't draw. It's like an Altergeist Hextia. This one's okay. It's just, it doesn't really have that much attack, but I could see you potentially sitting it in defense with 2800 defense and just kind of stalling with it. And then we have Sajida, Solitaire of the Sky Fang Brigade. This is a wind beast monster. They have wind twice on a YG organization. Level 5, 1200 attack, and it's 2400 defense. There is hard once per turns on the first effect, only on this one. Let's see. If this monster, or excuse me, if this card is special summoned, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each Sky Fang Brigade monster with different name you control. And then it says your opponent cannot target Sky Fang Brigade monsters you control for an attack except this one. This one doesn't seem good at all. I mean, a little bit of burn damage. Come on now, you're not Trickstars. You're not going to be burning anybody to death with a random burn effect in this deck. And also, it can be attacked, so 2400 isn't really that high. Like, people can kill that in Yu-Gi-Oh! Now to the continuous trap, which is probably, I don't even know if you're going to run this card at all. I think it's maybe like a one of. It's called Sky Fang Brigade Training. It's a continuous trap card. It says you can only use the effect, it's a hard once per turn. If a Sky Fang Brigade monster or monsters is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can target one of those monsters, special summon one Sky Fang Brigade monster from your deck whose level is lower than the original level of that monster. So basically, it's supposed to replace the monster. This card doesn't really give you any advantage, and you always have to go down, which means if your little guys are destroyed, then you really can't do anything. It would have been nice if you just could summon another Sky Fang Brigade monster with a different name. You'd be able to summon the boss monster out of the deck. That would have been like amazing, but as it is, I don't really think you need to run this card. In the field spell, maybe somebody sees something that I don't see in this field spell, but to me, this field spell seems like complete garbage. It's called Dragon Airship Fandora. Field spell, before you draw, during the draw phase, you can add one Sky Fang Brigade monster from your deck to your hand instead of drawing. That seems generally terrible. Anytime Konami builds that into like a monster, I think that Freed had that, like Freed the Matchless General had that, where you could get like a warrior monster or something like that instead of drawing. No one ever does that. Like, I would rather draw, potentially get like a nice card that I need instead of getting one monster. I'd rather just get the draw, to be honest. And then the second effect says If you control 5 Sky Fang Brigade monsters with different names, you can send this card from the field zone to the graveyard, destroy all cards your opponent controls, but your opponent takes no further damage until the end of the turn. This also seems like a pretty terrible effect, because if you have 5 monsters on the board, shouldn't you already be winning? Shouldn't you just win that turn? Why would you give up your field spell and take all of their cards, but now you don't do any damage? Like, I think the point is, if I have 5 monsters, I'm trying to actually just kill you. So I don't really know. The field spell to me doesn't really do anything. Like, I was expecting for it to at least have the whole arbitrary, like, Skyfang monsters gain, 500 or 300 attack and defense, but it just doesn't do anything unique. And in the day that we live in, where we have shit like Spiral Resort that gives you a Rhoda every turn for free, like, this is not gonna cut it. This can't compare to Trickstar, Light Stage or Spiral Resort or ABC Union Hanger. So this is not a very good card. Now, one of the things that I think the archetype is going to suffer with, and I know Konami has to be cognizant of this, is the fact that, man, their attributes and their typing is all over the place. And I understand there's supposed to be a bunch of members on a ship, kind of like the Straw Hat crew from One Piece. But man, I mean, if these guys would have all been like Beast or Beast Warrior, you could have played Tenki in here. You could have played Horn of the Phantom Beast. There's not going to be a lot of synergy with like just kind of good strong type cards or attribute cards for you to really run, considering that your attribute and your typing is all over the place. And I think that will definitely hold this archetype back. I mean, your opponent flips over Goes in Match, and what the fuck do you do if you're playing this deck? Or if they flip over Rivalry or Warlords or something like that. But anyways, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already. Turn on that notification bell for daily videos. And actually, there's one last thing that I did want to point out. The boss monster does not actually destroy the monster it negates. I mean, in the case of like hand traps, it's not going to be that relevant because those cards are in the graveyard, but I do find that to be a little funny that it doesn't actually destroy the card. I can't think of many cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! That like negate activations and don't destroy, or at least like spin the monster or spin whatever, they negated back to the deck. But that does kind of suck, but I guess it won't be super important in some situations.